Howdy folks, today I'd like to take a casual peek into the Marvel Legends Deathlok action figure. This figure set is part of Series 9 of Toybiz Marvel Legends, and is also known as the Galactus Series because each figure in the series contains a part of Galactus that you can put together. This set was originally released around 2005, but I found this set on a website called moviepostersetc.com and cost $15. Taking a look at the figure here in the package, you can see Deathlok with his blaster plugged into his chest here. And this figure contains 39 points of articulation. And behind the figure you can see a 32-page comic book. How much of that is story I'm not sure, but it's book 3 of 4. And down below you can see the Build-A-Figure part for Galactus, which is the upper torso, which is the second largest Build-A-Figure piece out of the entire set. Taking a look here at the back of the package, you can see here some statistics for Deathlok. And down below you can see a description for Deathlok there. And down further below you can see the figures from Series 9. We have Grey Hulk, Nightcrawler, Bullseye, War Machine, Deathlok, Professor X, and Doctor Strange. And the variants for this series include Grey Hulk. He comes in a green version as well as the original gray version. And Bullseye, he comes both with a closed mouth and a grimacing or grinning version. We'll be right back and have Deathlok out of the package. Okay, we're back and we have Deathlok out of the package, and we'll go ahead and take a look at this first, which is Deathlok book 3 of 4. Now this is a recreation of magazine form of Deathlok Special number 3 from mid-June of 1991. It was written by Dwayne McDuffie and Gregory Wright, and the artwork was by Dennis Cowan and Rick Magyar. Looking through the issue, I didn't read it, but looking through it, the color looks a little flat. I don't know if it's because it was set at night and that was the intended effect or not, but the colors are a little flat, and the art is pretty interesting on here. And I noticed that Deathlok's eye is yellow here. I don't know if his night vision was turned on this particular issue or not, but the figure has a red eye, and the bio states that his artificial eye is red as well, but I find it interesting that it's yellow here. Either that or he upgraded later on. But this is Deathlok book 3 of 4. The next thing we'll take a look at is the Build-A-Figure part, which is the upper torso of Galactus, and this thing is pretty neat. It's got this metallic blue color here with this purplish reddish color here, and a nice design on the chest area here. And as I mentioned earlier, this is the second largest Build-A-Figure part for Galactus, the largest one being the lower torso skirt area. And you can see some of the joints here. You got the peg on a hinge for the head, and you got some pegs for the arms, and a peg hole for the torso there. Very impressive, and this was the final piece that I needed to construct a Galactus figure, so I'm looking forward to putting this guy together. And I should be putting this guy together fairly soon, so expect to see a video of that shortly. But this is the Build-A-Figure part that comes included with Deathlok, the upper torso of Galactus. Now on to the Deathlok figure. And I always knew him as Deathlok the Demolisher when I remember seeing him from the 70s and 80s. And this is an impressive figure sculpt-wise. It's really nice. And we'll take a look at some of the details here. You can see the head sculpt. It's very gruesome and menacing, and which was typical of Deathlok. You have the half organic side of his face there, and you got some of his hair painted, and the skin tone on that is like a greenish gray on there. It's actually pretty zombified, you could say. It's pretty interesting. And he's got the teeth there. It's actually nicely painted there as well. I like the teeth on that. And then you have the mechanical side or artificial side with the red eye there. And if you look at it, I'm not sure if it's going to show up on the video or not, but the eye there has a targeting reticle on there. It's actually kind of neat. And then you can see some more details on the head sculpt there. And this is like a bluish green color here. It's actually kind of neat. And then looking over here at the body, it's the torso here is a metallic red on there, and with silver banding throughout the legs and this right arm here. It's actually kind of cool on here. And coming out of his chest is this rubberized, I guess to simulate a hose that plugs into the blaster here, which is interesting because if you look at the back of the packaging, let me get the back of the packaging here, there is no hose to connect from the blaster to the chest of Deathlok there. And I don't know if this was a last minute addition or not, and I don't know if it's removable, and I don't want to try in case I break it off and can't put it back on. But it's interesting. Sometimes it gets in the way, as you can see here. But taking a look at the blaster here, it's actually kind of neat. It's kind of some of the details of the blaster. And it actually has a peg hole at the bottom of the grip here. That can plug into the peg that's on Deathlok's right hand. You can see on the palm there. There's some more details on the blaster there. It's kind of cool. Let me go ahead and put this back on, and we'll take a look at some more details of the figure. You can see the belt here with the lower torso is kind of neat, and you got more banding on the leg. Looks very similar to Colossus, but this one here looks very worn, and there's a lot of weathering detail on the leg. It's actually kind of cool. Looks like he's been through a lot on here. And then you have the legs here, and several of my friends that have this figure have told me to watch out for the joints on this figure. And looking at the joints on the both the elbow and the knees, they are relatively weak, and you can see I'm just slightly bending it here, and it's very soft material on those the knee joints on there, which is unfortunate. You know, I would think that would have been harder plastic, but it's not. It's a soft plastic on there, so you really just have to be careful not to bend the knees on this figure. And just even with the weight of the figure itself tends to bend the knees, so you really have to be careful with these knee joints and elbow joints on here. But taking a look at more detail, here's the boot on the metallic red and some yellow there. Overall, it's a pretty neat figure on here. Going over the articulation of this figure, the head does go all the way around and does go up and down very well on this hinge joint right here. And the arms do go all the way around, and they do go out and in, and the arm rotates at the bicep on here. It has double joints on the elbows, which is nice. A swivel cut on the gauntlet there. The hands are joined at the wrist with a hinge joint, so the hands can go in and out. The fingers can go in and out on a hinge joint as well. And the torso has slight articulation from left to right at the upper end of the torso. The lower end of the torso can go down, up, and back very slightly. Oh, I forgot to point out there's a backpack on this figure that's not removable, but you can see some of the detail there. The waist goes all the way around. The legs are joined at the hip on a ball hinge swivel joint, so the leg goes up, down to the back, out to the side, and also rotates at the top of the thigh. The knees have double hinge joints, so they can go in and out very well. You just got to be careful on that weak hinge joint there. The calf rotates at the top of the boot. The feet are on a hinge joint, so it goes up and down very well. There is ankle pivot on here, which is nice, and there is toe articulation, so the toe can go up and down. Overall, it's an excellent figure, and it's very delicate at the elbow and knee joint, so you have to really be careful on that. But otherwise, a very nice figure, very well sculpted, lots of detail on here. And I do recommend picking one up if you happen to find one. They're not readily available from the searching that I've done. So, but I do recommend if you find one to go ahead and pick it up, because it's a nice figure overall. But this is my casual peek into the Marvel Legends Deathlok the Demolisher action figure. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.